Welcome to Module 8. How do you feel about conflict? If there's conflict in your groups, what do you do? Although people might answer those questions differently, we all tend to have strong reactions to conflict. Some people try to avoid it at all costs, some make choices about when they want to engage, and others kind of enjoy conflict and get energized by debating ideas and challenging others. So in this module, we will discuss conflict and power in groups. In the video, I'll give a brief overview of the module, highlight some key concepts, and talk you through the assignments a bit. So here are some things you need to know. The chapter we read for this module gives a definition of conflict and describes some advantages and disadvantages. It also highlights different types of conflict between members in groups, like relational conflict, task conflict, process conflict. These distinctions are useful because when people are having a group, it can make it a lot easier to figure out how to move forward if you can get some clarity about what is really at the heart of the matter. If you can recognize different types of conflict in your own groups, you're more likely to be able to step up and manage the conflict well. Another important idea from this chapter is that there are many different conflict management strategies. Research has identified 5 approaches, and they vary with how much emphasis they play on assertiveness, that is meeting your own needs, or cooperativeness, or attempting to satisfy the other person's concerns. For example, competitive strategies are high on assertiveness and low on cooperativeness. They emphasize winning the argument and are not as concerned about whether the other person gets their needs met. In contrast, accommodating strategies are kind of the opposite. Someone who's really accommodating lets other people win and thinks that that's more important than having their own concerns addressed. And sometimes that's the case. Sometimes that's true. Other strategies involve avoiding conflict, compromising, or working collaboratively. So you can probably think of people you know who use these different strategies, and you might be able to identify which one best fits your typical approach. It's important to know that all of these strategies are useful in different situations. And even though we might feel comfortable with 1 or 2 of these strategies more than the others, we can learn how to use other conflict strategies. So as a young person, I was very conflict avoidant. I really didn't like it. But over time, I've learned to be more collaborative and even competitive when necessary. So collaborative strategies in some ways are the best because they integrate the needs of all people involved in the conflict. These are win-win approaches. Sounds great, right? And it can be really amazing, but collaborative strategies are pretty complicated and they take buy-in from all concerned. We have a video in this module that can help explain some of the ways people engage in collaborative conflict management strategies. Another important idea from this chapter is power, because power is important in understanding conflict. People draw power from different sources, different bases, and understanding where power comes from can help you navigate through tricky conflict situations. So in this module, you'll apply these ideas about conflict and power to your case discussion and your journal. For your group work this week, you're asked to make a work plan, which is sometimes called a program evaluation and review technique, or PERT diagram. So this process helps your group figure out which steps to take in order to implement your decision. And it's especially useful for groups because it can allow you to map out the different tasks in a kind of visual way, even if they're happening simultaneously. So to create a PERT diagram for your group, you should probably work backwards from your final product. Identify what it is, when it's due, and list everything that needs to happen in order to make that final product happen on time and on schedule, right, to the quality that you want. Then go through that list of events and put them in chronological order. This step is important. Be sure to think about what things can be happening at the same time and which things need to happen later. For example, in your group project, you've been asked to brainstorm about a problem, choose a problem, do research, which is kind of what you've done already, write up an analysis of the problem, generate criteria for evaluating possible solutions, come up with different possible solutions, evaluate these solutions, and so on. So most of these things need to happen in a specific order. You shouldn't really choose a social problem to focus your project on before you've actually listed a bunch of different, brainstormed a list of possible topics, for example, right? However, you do have some events that you can delegate to different group members so that more than one thing is happening at a time. For instance, some group members can be writing up the analysis of your problem while others are working on generating criteria. When you get to the point near the end and you have to create both like an online portfolio and a video, you might split that up into two teams. So in your PERT diagram, you could note that both of these tasks are occurring at the same time period. So let's take a look at what this might actually look like. See, I'm trying to share my screen here and see if this works. So this PERT diagram here depicts the events that need to happen when a work team is hiring a new employee. So if you look at the red boxes in the center, you can see that these are the main tasks associated with the hiring. The group needs to establish a need for a new hire, write a job description, write a job advertisement, place the ad, get applications, etc. These are listed in chronological order, and on the screen or the document, they go left to right. But the purple boxes are also things that need to happen. For example, while the job ad is being written, the team needs to decide where the ad will run and what criteria they will use for evaluating applicants. So that's these things up here at the top. Someone on the team also needs to make sure they have like a location and for the holding the interviews and devise the questions or tests that they will use to interview the applicants. So this is an example of a PERT diagram, and it's the kind of thing that you'll be creating for your own group. So a group like this, a diagram like this, can help your group make sure everyone has a shared understanding of the project and as you plan your next steps and work ahead. So check the assignment for details on how to create a PERT diagram for your group, and let me know what questions you have. That's all for now. I hope you enjoy the material, and I look forward to hearing about it.